Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in to the Don't Get Last Guillotine podcast. I'm your host, Joe Harris, and with me today, we've got another excellent guest. You may know him from the 100 points per quarterback tackle league, just utterly innovating the fantasy landscape. You may not know him from his Twitter profile because he hasn't updated it in years, and he has a beard now. But you most certainly know him if you follow ESPN Fantasy Football on Instagram because they're stealing his tweets and posting them all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is Akash Patel, better known as YZR Fantasy. Akash, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. It's a pleasure, as always, to have anyone from the Fantasy Gazette Memorial Guillotine League coming on, talking ball with me. And today we're going to be talking about the AFC South, which is the team of your, the division of the team of your choosing, the Atlanta Falcons. But before we get into it, as we always do, we want to talk to you about what happened in your league last season. You want to start with the draft? May as well start with the draft.
The draft was cool. I mean, I got McCaffrey. I guess it was kind of a risky pick, but you know, I don't care about getting
it paid off.
Yeah, get first, get last, whatever.
No, don't get last.
Right, exactly. Getting last, getting 18th is about the same as getting like 6th. So I was like, I'll take a high upside.
Totally.
And he was there till the very end, so clearly it worked out. McConkey in the next round, it was whatever. He was fine. Breece Hall, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave were all three like values last year. They were all three.
Yeah, that's what Breece I think Hall really propelled you.
Yeah, rounds 4 and 4 or 5 really did it for me. Olave and Flowers were
100%
beautiful. Downs was always kind of steady sometimes, kind of not steady sometimes. But then I think the biggest thing was just like my biggest strategy was like, okay, I'm not gonna like rush on QB because I didn't like the value. This year it's more reasonable. I wasn't gonna rush on tight end if I didn't like anybody because I was like, all you have to do is not get last. So I'm fine with treading water. And for a little bit, my team was just treading water, and I was saving a lot of my fab so that I could use it later. I was, maybe I was overconfident in my team and it worked out. And if I do the same thing this year, it might not work out, which is fine. But
yeah, I think you had the right confidence in your team, given the absurd numbers that Christian McCaffrey was putting out there, given the Zay Flowers and Chris Olave picks late.
Yes, that was a big boost. And then, then I was able to just use all my fab in the last like 4 or 5 weeks. And I got there, and as an unfortunate result, I guess, I don't even like thinking about it. I was so upset. I was actually on vacation I was in Morocco at the time, so the 6-hour time difference. So I was watching at like 4 a.m. feeling terrible. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs was on Christmas Day right before I left. And he ruined Christmas, and then it was all downhill from there. I think 2 of my guys had good weeks. Unfortunately, it happens. That's fantasy.
It is. It's unfortunate to make it as far as you did and then come up a little short, especially in the position that you were in.
I 100% had a better team. Oh my God. I was looking at it, and of like the top like 10 projected scores for week 18, I had 7 of them. And so I was so mad.
Yeah. And because it's because you were very careful with the fab. You made good, no nonsense picks in the draft. It's what we like to see. And then you didn't ever feel the need to go out and spend on the elite players. And that's something that I've always told people. You probably don't want to be the guy spending the most fab on a given week, because there's almost 100% certainty that means you're the one overpaying. If no one else is willing to pay the price on the guy that you're willing to pay, then either you know something that everyone else doesn't know, or you just have a prohibitively high amount of fab. And that's the situation you found yourself in late, and that was totally different. But it is a tough way to have the season end, to know that you were in the driver's seat for those last few weeks with all the money.
I know. I had so much money, and I was just able to like calculate the max that people were able to spend and like outbid them by $1. It was amazing. I love it so much.
Oh, it's so fun when you pull that off and when you get to do it, but it comes with the responsibility. Yep. And sometimes it stings. Speaking of the Fantasy Gazette Memorial Guillotine League, though, as I understand, you were on the clock in the Fantasy Gazette Memorial Guillotine League year 2. And so we're going to go ahead and 1 second, I'm going to click over here. Going to drag the draft over here. Yeah, and let's talk about what you're thinking.
I've even checked it. I didn't even know I was on the clock until you mentioned it. So I have to see who's available first. It's getting very dicey so far. It's getting pretty terrible.
Yeah.
There's some guys. There's some guys for sure. We are not completely dead yet. I think.
Now I see you don't have a quarterback yet. I'm very much of the belief that you need to have a quarterback week 1, but you know that
that's what killed someone last year. They had their quarterback in week 1, and they were the first one out.
Ben Cummins.
Everyone else has got a quarterback though, so if I wait, maybe another one will make it back to me.
Right.
That's what I did last year, and I got Kyler.
You did, and you could get Kyler here, but to the right of you, there's only one pick. It's Jagger May over here.
Yep.
And he's probably not taking a quarterback here, so I don't think you need a quarterback. Yeah. No. Even if he takes a backup.
What both players I want.
That way I think your next pick should be a quarterback. Probably. I wouldn't want to send that all the way back around after what we saw this league do to Ben last year.
That was pretty bad, but yeah, if it was 18, you're absolutely right. If it was 12, I'd be fine with QB 25.
If you're in the middle, you can always respond to that sort of thing. But
yeah,
I don't trust the guys to be nice.
Which quarterbacks do I like? Baker, Shuck, Kyler are the best available.
It's a little gross. I don't really mind Kyler week 1. I don't mind Baker either, I guess. We'll talk a little bit more about Baker.
That's true. Yeah, he will come up.
But if I were you picking there, I don't know exactly who you want, but I would take a running back with this pick because you have 2 running backs and 4 receivers.
Yeah.
And so right now, if something happens to anyone in your lineup, if you draft a running back, then this guy that you drafted can sub in above everyone because of how flexes work. But if you take a receiver and like Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara gets hurt, and you're taking a quarterback with your next pick, your third best running back is going to make you upset when week 1 rolls around. So I'm looking at running back here.
Yeah. Who would you take? I know who I'm going to take, but I want to hear what you would say.
I don't think I want Brian Robinson. I hope I don't want Brian Robinson here. I know he's at the top of the board, but it's my belief that Bijan's just going to own everything back there. I would probably look farther down. I like either Marshawn Lloyd or Jadon Blue here. I think Jadon Blue might be a Samaje Perine-esque guy. He showed that he's a good pass catcher last season. And more importantly, Javonte Williams showed that he's a really awful pass catcher last season. And so hopefully a third down type of running back on a high-powered offense gets me excited there. And then Marshawn Lloyd, the other option of just you hope that the NFL decides to take possible domestic violence seriously. And then if so, you've got a awesome start. You also have to hope that the guy doesn't, tear into another bit of his soft tissue.
That's always
which he famously does frequently.
You read my mind. I mean, the 2 guys I'm between right now are Blue and Lloyd. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm big on drafting them later.
I think I like Lloyd more. I like Lloyd more in redraft because he has more upside season long. But in terms of like spot starting and guillotine, I like Blue's receiving more. So
yeah,
I think that's what I'm gonna do. We can watch that live.
Hell yeah! Oh, and you can even hear the sleeper draft pick. Just love when that happens. I'm gonna hopefully make here. Gonna hopefully make a quicker transition back to our slides. And bang,
Yeah.
Just like that. We were way faster this time. All right. We're talking about the Atlanta Falcons first. 8-9 last season. Nothing to write home about in points per game or their defense. Akash, who was the starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons week 1?
I'm gonna go. I honestly have no idea. It's terrible. They're both injured right now, or they were. One of them, I think one came back. I think Tua came back.
I think Tua's back right now too. Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be Penix. Just off of being entrenched, but he's definitely probably gonna get benched halfway through.
I think that whoever is starting week 1, you can almost like guarantee that they're going to be benched at some point. I don't see either of these guys having a chance at starting 17 games this season.
Definitely.
And it's really messing with like my expectation for the Falcons, because honestly, I'm more of the belief that Tua starts. I think that that's why he came to the team, is because, I can hear the... Gonna close the sleeper app.
It's rough for them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, it's rough, but I kind of see them as very similar in terms of how they're gonna do with all the supporting the weapons. I mean, Bijan's a running back, so not really as affected. You know, the receiving volume probably doesn't change with either guy.
I don't know. London, I think that Tua's been... I mean, Tua throughout his career has been more likely to check down to a running back because he just doesn't have the same arm strength as Penix. And so when Penix is in trouble, he's still keeping his eyes downfield, which I like about him.
That's true. But Bijan had a 20% target share last season, so I don't know how much higher it can go. So it's going to be good regardless. So I'm really...
I mean, who's your wide receiver too? It could go higher.
Yeah. Yeah. London commands a 30% target share himself, so I feel good about him. Like regardless of who's there. I mean, it's not like Penix was good last year, and
right, and he was still able to get London the ball.
Yeah, he did great. If you split out the games that he was you just take out the game he left early or something, it was great. He was still top 8 wide receiver.
But either way, unless you're pulling a Ben Cummins, you're probably not going to be starting one of these guys week 1. I don't think we have to talk a ton about Tuakel Pengavailoa, whatever he happens to be. Let's talk about the guy that everyone's incredibly excited about, the guy that people need to be more excited about, as excited as people are. It's Bijan Robinson. He is I think, the clear RB1 for Guillotine leagues. He's been much more consistent than Jahmyr Gibbs, both last year and just throughout his career. He only had one game last season that was lower than 10 PPR points, and that was when Algier scored a touchdown, stole the touchdown from him.
Yeah.
I think that too many people, when you're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, too many people are talking about David Montgomery leaving and that being a good thing for Gibbs. I don't necessarily even agree that it's a good thing for Gibbs. But not enough people are talking about Tyler Algier just no longer being here. And the guy that they brought in to replace him is way worse than Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
They let Tyler Algier walk and get paid a pretty good amount of money for a running back. And they spent nothing on Brian Robinson. So I don't think we're giving Bijan the boost that we need to after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I definitely agree. I mean, with some of that, I love Bijan. So I try not to be biased, but I'm always going to be a little biased because he's just so good.
He's between so good. The two you're watching him every league.
Yeah, between the two of them, I go back and forth on who my one is. For me, consistency doesn't really matter because you can't really predict it from year to year. Back when I was actually using stats on Excel to analyze fantasy football, I found I did a correlation on. It's a correlation of variance of what year to year if inconsistent players stay inconsistent, and they don't really. So if players inconsistent one year, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be inconsistent another year. Jahmyr Gibbs had a lot of games last year with he'd have a game with 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns.
Sure.
Next year it might look like he has 1, 2, 2, 1, splits up like that. So
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a factor to me, but in terms of just the running back competition changing, but I think I got to give the edge to Gibbs just because of the offense and the touchdown possibilities there.
That's understandable. I think that Gibbs has just a lot better competition for touches on his team, and in a guillotine format, I want someone with a little bit more consolidated touchdowns, but I can see it either way. I definitely can.
It's consolidated, but there's more pie available for Gibbs, so it's probably going to be about the same.
I think that if you want to bet on someone to score 50 points, I would definitely say that Gibbs is more likely to do that.
Yeah.
But I'd be surprised if Bijan had a ton of like dud games where, you know, if you started Jahmyr Gibbs on Christmas last season, it was tough.
He ruined Christmas. Oh my God, he's like the Grinch. Terrible. I have him in so many leagues. Like my championships, I won so many championships the year before because I have so many teams with Bijan and Gibbs because I just tanked super hard in Dynasty for the 23 draft because I knew how good it was. So I have so many teams with Gibbs that are so good, and it made me lose more championships than I won for the first time since I started playing fantasy.
That's brutal.
Unfortunate. And whatever, it's the game.
It is. Let's move on, though. I don't think there's a ton that needs to be said about Bijan Robinson. If you get him at the top of your draft, you're pretty happy.
Yeah.
But we should move on to wide receiver 7, Drake London, who was just a monster last year. Yeah. I mean, he had a few up and down games, but he had some pretty up and down quarterback play happening in there as well. I don't think enough's being talked about of the Kevin Stefanski upgrade. That's a pretty significant difference in an offensive play caller. And Stefanski has always been someone who has been willing to change the offense based on who the best player was. When they had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they were really run heavy. When the run game was terrible, they started peppering guys like Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. There was also Cedric Tillman month in there, if you'll remember, which was kind of fun. And then obviously last season, he found they struck gold on Harold Fannin Jr., and they just became a tight end centric passing team. Yeah. And Drake London is pretty clearly the best pass catching option on this team. He was one of the most efficient pass catchers in the NFL too last season in terms of first downs and yards per route run, which you normally don't see that many guys like Drake London, the big guys who were always on the field being good at that sort of thing. But he was still able to do it because he's just that guy. Yeah. So I like him a lot at wide receiver 7. I think in some like Fantasy Pros expert consensus, he's going above running backs and tight ends that I would, just one tight end that I would rather have in Guillotine. But I think that wide receiver 7 is absolutely the right spot for him. My only question that I'm hoping you'll give me a little insight on here. Do you think that a team that Vegas projects to score about 21 points a game, can a team like that have a top 3 running back in Bijan Robinson and a top 10 wide receiver in Drake London in the same season?
I definitely think so. I mean, points are one thing off touchdowns, but I mean, Bijan obviously is a running back and such a good player, scores a lot. But Drake London's always had he never had bad touchdown numbers, but it's never been something that he's relied on. He's always had a volume, and so PPR versus half PPR, it doesn't really change a lot, but he's going to have amazing volume, and he's always very efficient with his volume. So I definitely think that they can support it, even if they're not scoring a ton.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons that I'm willing to believe they can support that kind of thing is because the next player we're talking about, the wide receiver 2 in fantasy for the Atlanta Falcons, is Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver 83, who is, I like more Zachariah Branch for what he represents than what he's actually going to be as a fantasy asset. I like that he represents that it's a very concentrated offense at the top. And your next best fantasy playmaker is going at pick, what would that be? That would be at probably pick 170, 180, something to that effect. He is, however, a rookie. And for those of you who are long-time or even part-time listeners of this show, you'll know what I have to say about drafting rookies in Guillotine fantasy football. It tends to be that they start slow and then they become good. But the problem is, by the time that most rookies have become good, your league is half the size that it was when you started. And now the guy he just doesn't really have a spot in a starting lineup. And you wasted a draft pick and a roster spot for half the year, assuming you're still alive, on a guy who's just most likely a project type of guy who needed to sit for too long than it was worth to draft. Are you, though, at the wide receiver 83 price tag, still willing to pull that trigger in the Guillotine League, or are there other players around him that you like?
Nah. In Guillotine, this is the only Guillotine League I play. In Guillotine, no, and also like regular redraft, also not really. I mean, that kind of range, I try to target more running backs just because it's a lot easier for them to get the opportunity, and like Guillotine especially, it's going to be hard for Branch to really pop off before like in any way that you need him. Like you're not going to start him when Biomageddon starts hitting, and then if you make it through that, then there's really no reason to keep him around even when he is producing.
Exactly.
And just as a player, like aside from like team building, I think he's an okay prospect. I definitely see an avenue for him to be fantasy relevant and even like good in the NFL. But it's going to take a lot of development. It's definitely not going to be in week one especially now with like the way the offense is set up right now. Like it's consolidated with the three guys right now, and he can definitely break into like, if he is good, like he can break into like a 12 to 14% target share off of some design plays. That's always going to be useful to have him there, but that's not fantasy relevant. The most you can hope for him is like
cutting out there
in like his peripheral numbers to say like, okay, maybe this guy's decent even if he doesn't produce. But redraft Guillotine, I'm not really into him.
Yeah, probably not. I think that him being a design target type of guy is sort of the use case of wanting him on your team, because you can sort of chalk up one or two plays a game where they're going to just get him a very quick, easy button throw and see what he can do with it. Yeah. But unless he starts showing us something very good, very fast throughout the season, he probably doesn't crack many Guillotine lineups. Let's talk about someone, though, who's definitely cracking some Guillotine lineups. We're looking at tight end 7 right now, Kyle Pitts, who I don't like at tight end 7 or at his ADP. Just looking at the players who he's ranked around, I think most of the guys beneath him I have a lot more interest in. And that's kind of the problem that I have with a lot of tight ends in this range. I think that their opportunity cost is just way too high. Don't get me wrong, he was awesome last season. I want to say he was the tight end 2 or 3 last season. A good chunk of that coming off of a game that Drake London was not playing football for, where he scored 45 PPR points, which was awesome. Like, that was just really fun to watch. You can't even you can't deny that, even if you're not a Falcons fan.
It's beautiful.
He has increased his touchdown count by 1 every year he's been in the NFL. If you're doing a fantasy football podcast, you are legally obligated to mention that he increases his touchdown number by 1 in every season that he's played. So he's probably scoring 6 this season because it's funny like that. I think that his tight end ranking at tight end 7 is perfectly reasonable. I don't have a problem with that. I'm definitely taking above like the Travis Kelce, George Kittle. But for those of you watching on YouTube, we do have the players who are going around, mostly behind him. And I'm a lot more excited about. Were you killing a bug over there?
No, my bad. I was picking up my phone to look at my rankings to compare to them, but
I see.
But yeah.
You tell me what your rankings are giving us on Kyle Pitts, because I think that a top 80 player ish is probably a little bit too rich, especially when you have guys like, Jordan Tyson, Josh Downs, Wan'Dale Robinson going after him, wide receivers who I think could command a pretty significant target share. And I think that I would rather just get a kind of meh tight end later and have a shot at someone like a Josh Downs.
I love Josh Downs so much.
I love
100% would take him over him. Out of everyone on this list, Josh Downs is who I'd take very first over everyone else.
Josh Downs is like a top 70 player for me right now, and he might climb a little bit depending on what ends up happening to Alec Pierce, because he's so good. He gets open so easily. He can beat man coverage and zone coverage at rates that are better than a lot of
zero RB build. Then
sorry, I think we missed what you had going there. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, there's a couple other guys for sure, like Pollard or Mondre are good if you're having like a zero RB build, and then I like Tyson. Obviously, I like Downs. I don't like Wan'Dale as much. I don't like Alec Pierce.
But
just like a tight end in general, he's the only tight end on this list, and he kind of is in like a no man land of tight end where like I would push him down my board because I don't see much of a difference between him and whoever like tight end 8, 9, 10 is. And he's getting drafted like a couple rounds before that. So I wouldn't have any problem pushing him down, not even off of like a player take, just off of like a replaceability idea.
Yeah. The positional value, especially in Guillotine League where there are 18 starting tight ends, there are just not 18 tight ends worth starting.
Yeah.
And so having the seventh best guy, it's an advantage over 4 guys, but also everyone has an advantage over those 4 guys because they're starting Chigo Conquo.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's actually who Jagger just took right now. I don't know if that's his tight end.
Oh, no way.
But he's...
God, I hope it's not.
AJ Bonner, Chigo Conquo is his tight end cabal. That's horrible.
You know what? He's way smarter than me, and he has done this for a living for a long time, so I'm not trying to shit on his selection there, but it is kind of funny that was the tight end name that I pulled out of my ass for that.
I mean, Hawkinson's right there. Other than that, not really anyone. I'm surprised about Hawkinson.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not in on Hawkinson. He was really bad last season.
He was really bad, but that whole offense, I mean, you saw how bad Jefferson looked. I mean,
that's true.
If 9 can make Jefferson look that bad, like Hawkinson
he can make anyone look bad.
3-4 tight end like just 2 seasons ago with Darnold, and if Kyler can play a little bit better, I mean, he's definitely going to play better than JJ McCarthy. They'll throw the ball more. And I definitely think that, like, obviously their offense is still going to be good if they have like this good QB play because of Kevin O'Connell. I mean,
and tight ends just need scoring opportunities, especially when you're at that lower end of tight end production where it's just the best guys who get drafted between 100%. Tight ends 10 and 20 are the guys that score like 8 or more touchdowns. That's really just the big difference between that type of dude. All right, let's talk about some of the Falcons bench rider players. Let's get some Brian Robinson first, who's I think his best contribution to fantasy football this season is making it look like a team is way better than it is by having Falcons B. Robinson starting at like one of the running back spots and then going, wait, no, that's a different B. Robinson. I don't big things out of Brian Robinson. He's being drafted really similar to what we drafted Tyler Algier at in the past, and the NFL kind of told us that they are not the same player. So I'm not interested in him at RB53. If you already have Bijan Robinson and you didn't draft any other running back, as a floor raising play, I could see you drafting him as your last starter at the RB2 spot and just being like, if he happens to fall into the end zone, then I want to be isolated. I don't want to be worried about that. And just because Bijan is so good, he scores enough points for the two of them combined.
Are you going to start Brian Robinson, though?
The only way I would start Brian Robinson is if something has gone wrong.
With Bijan or with your whole team?
I mean, definitely with Bijan, but also like on my team, let's say that I drafted someone who's a flex player and he gets injured before the season starts. And so then I throw Brian Robinson out there exclusively because I have Bijan Robinson, and their scoring is going to be correlated against each other. So if Robinson goes out and scores 0 points, I'll probably be ecstatic because that means Bijan's getting all of the running back points, and that'll be enough to keep me alive.
I don't know. Brian Robinson's already going to have almost next to nothing. I mean, like any week where you need Brian Robinson and his projected to score like 4 points per game, like you can add some wide receiver 3 off the waivers. Like you could say like, oh, Garrett Wilson like stubbed his toe. I'm going to add Tim Patrick. There's my 4 points. Like that's good. That's good enough. And then as far as like if you want like depth in your running back room, then he's not a terrible pick. I mean, sometimes you just need a warm body because
right.
Like, I think his ADP is a little too high, but like if he was going a little bit later, then he would just be just another running back who you take because he can get a role and he can take 20 carries. If I have Bijan, I'm absolutely not taking him. I've never understood the idea of handcuffing running backs. It's like wearing 2 condoms instead of 1. If you're wearing 2 condoms, if one breaks, that same thing is going to break the other one. Like, I don't get it. I've never understood handcuffing.
True.
If you lose Bijan Robinson, you're already fucked. You don't practice fucked.
Okay.
Okay. I remember that's an old quote. That the I think it was a Colts. I think it was the head coach said about Peyton Manning. If Bijan Robinson goes down, it's over. And I'm just gonna assume he stays healthy. That's what I did with CMC last year. If he dies, he dies, and
so he dies, and then if he dies, my team's chopped, and I wait till next season.
Yeah, we saw what happened with like CMC's backups when CMC was out. You can't replace it. Like there's nothing you can do to get that back. You can get a portion of it, but at the end of the day, you're starting up from behind.
I was in 2 years ago. I was in a dynasty league, and I had Christian McCaffrey, and I had every backup running back of his except for Isaac Guerendo because I thought Isaac Guerendo was just bad at football, and I didn't care. And then McCaffrey got hurt, and then Jordan Mason got hurt, and then one other guy, I think it was Jordan James, got hurt, and the guy who I played in the finals that season had Isaac Guerendo, and I lost by like 4 points. Guerendo was
drafted in 24. Jordan James was drafted in 25.
Okay, then I was definitely wrong about Jordan James.
But it was someone. There's plenty of injuries. Yeah, you're right.
And the Niners just always draft a running back.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll rein it back in. Is there anything to say about wide receivers 116 and 121, Jahan Dotson and Olamide Zaccheaus?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, cool. No. We can just move on then. We don't have to talk about it.
I saw someone saying that Jahan Dotson was nice and he was just stuck behind AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. I was like, no, he's not.
No, he's bad. He's not terrible. A good football player. All right.
No.
Let's talk some Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As we alluded to at the top of the show, we're going to talk a little bit of Baker Mayfield right now going at QB 18. And he was going at QB 8 last season, coming fresh off of a 2023 where he threw a 7% touchdown rate, which very predictably came back down to about 5%. I want to say he was just a shade below 5%.
And there's still room for that to regress, I think. I think he could still come down to like a 3.5-4%.
Really?
Especially with Mike Evans. Yeah, I mean.
That's true. And I do have a note of that here of just like Mike Evans not being there is probably going to be bad for his overall touchdown scoring ability because like they didn't replace him with a big guy unless you're a really big Ted Hurst believer. And I like Ted Hurst. I think Ted Hurst is a good player, but that's a lot to ask of a rookie that played in a small school.
And then, like, how many situations are you inside the 5-yard line? And it was like an automatic fade to Mike Evans, and they're just going to run it with Rashad White or JCM instead, Like, it's definitely going to be a little bit come down just off of that.
Gotta be.
Yeah. I don't have Baker. He is on the top of the ADP right now, and if I was drafting my ADP, I would take him if I was taking a quarterback. But I'm not taking him here. I have him below several guys, at least a couple who are still left. I'm not.
Yeah. Cutting out on me again just a little. Wait for it. 3, 2, there he is.
What's up, man?
Sorry.
My bad. But yeah, the Buccaneers, like last couple of years, I feel like they've kind of always been overperforming. At least like this offense has. Part of it is because they have some legitimate talent. But like Ibuka in like the first beginning of the season was going absolutely nuts, and then he came down, and Baker Mayfield came down from the season before, and there
were also a lot of injuries though. Like the offensive line was torn up. They had a center playing at right tackle, I want to say, by the end of the season. Obviously Evans and Chris Godwin missed time. Baker probably should have missed time. Ibuka probably should have taken more time off. Bucky Irving missed time. It was kind of a cluster over there. The last note that I have on Baker Mayfield is that he averaged the highest yards per carry in the entire NFL last season, which I would have never guessed. You could have given me probably 50 guesses, and I would have never made my way to Baker Mayfield. Yep. So maybe there's something there. Sneaky rushing. Maybe he gets a few rushing touchdowns this season, and he makes the ADP look good and makes Akash and I look, well, probably not that stupid, but make us look a little bad.
I'm never wrong. I'm just early.
100%. Maybe late, but right in some degree. Let's move to running back 20, Bucky Irving, who was everyone's favorite guy like 2 years ago. I feel like we're just like less than 365 days removed from the official Sleeper app tweeting Bucky Irving plays football today.
Yes. Oh my God. Bucky Mania was kind of nuts.
Bucky Mania.
I don't know why.
Maybe it was paid for by like the Oh yeah, the name. Yeah. That's a good point. It could be an aura-based drafting problem. I was talking with Adam Stark about this earlier this week, but like he might be one of those players who's better in our heads because we like the name Bucky Irving so much.
Yeah, at least from last year, he was legitimately very good as a rookie, and that's one of the reasons that I like him compared to guys around him. I mean, the ADP that you have on the screen right now has him around guys like the running backs after him. Well, before him is Scatterboo, and then after Swift, Judkins, Monty, Henderson, and so out of almost all those guys, I think in that range. I mean, he's the only one who has like shown that he could like do everything. Scatterboo definitely showed some of that in the small sample we saw of him, and I think he will do that. I would take Scatterboo, but other than that, Bucky Irving he has concerns off of the efficiency last year, but he has the upside of what we saw with a 3-down back. And I'm not worried about Kenneth Gainwell. You have here that you have real backfield competition. That's Kenneth Gainwell we're talking about. I'm not buying any Kenneth Gainwell. Last year, Rodgers, horrible 40-year-old arm. Love the running back. I can't. It's Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, it's terrible. Last year, he was with, like the last 2 years, he's played with Rachaad White, who is legitimately, I think, probably the second or third, not third, or fourth or fifth best receiving back in the league. And Bucky Irving still gets third down work just because he's also a very good receiver. And Kenneth Gainwell, that's pretty much all he does is be a pretty good receiver in his own right. But I still expect Bucky to get a lot of good receiving work. And if he can return back to the efficiency, then you're looking at a top 8 RB just like he was as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean he was one of the most efficient runners in the NFL as a rookie, and he just cratered to like Kareem Hunt of inefficient running last season. I think part of that was not only his injury, but the injuries around the Bucs, and also was it Josh Grizzard? Was that their offensive coordinator last season?
I don't remember.
He was not good.
Terrible. Yeah,
he just was not good. So I think we definitely see a bounce to something closer to his rookie season than what we saw last season. RB20 is pretty good. He also started the year last year really strong. He was 14 or more points in every game. I think actually his first 4 games were 16 or more points. And then he got hurt. And then he came back and he was still trying, but it was a losing effort out there.
Sure.
So I like him where he's going. I'm willing to take him above those weird, like up and down wide receivers. Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, Mike Evans are all guys who I'm pushing down the board in favor of Bucky Irving in this spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the outlook is generally good. I think you're right that the outlook is.
Where do you get this ADP from? This ADP is kind of nuts.
This is Fantasy Pros expert consensus rankings. It's not necessarily ADP.
Gotcha.
I would rather use ECR than average draft position just because I trust a bunch of Fantasy Pros experts more than people just drafted on whatever platform.
I agree, but ADP does tell you what's more likely to happen. But yeah, I agree in terms of like what people think.
Has ADP? Yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying there. That's good.
People draft off ADP on their site. Mm-hmm. But yeah, some expert consensus to have Tyler Warren at 52nd.
No kidding. Anyways, we've got Emeka Egbuka next on the list, coming in at wide receiver 20 right now. I mean, we all know what happened with Emeka Egbuka. He was awesome to start the season, and then he got hurt. And it's like I've said with everyone so far, the rest of the Bucs got hurt, and then it was rough. He had a 24% target share. That's awesome for a rookie. It was partially influenced by dudes around him getting injured, becoming uninjured, getting injured again. He was really heavily utilized downfield, and that's a little bit of a red flag to me. The guys who get used downfield are a little bit more up and down than, his teammate Chris Godwin, who's going to be used more in the shorter intermediate area. But we also saw what we saw last season. Mm-hmm. He was wide receiver 3 through the first 5 weeks of fantasy football last season. Are you drafting him where he's going right now? Or are you looking a little bit farther down the board? Because there's a lot of good players on the board where he goes right now.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm pretty neutral on him. I don't really have a strong take either way. Some of the guys here, I mean, you only showed everyone that's below him. Mm-hmm. Other people below him, I think the only guys that I would really take are like, I take Waddle, I take Love, Breece Hall. But, I think his range is perfectly fine. He had a really good target share, yards per run, all of that. Like, very impressive for a rookie. I feel like people kind of get like, it's weird, like the split that he had from the beginning of the season to the last season, because I feel like people use it either in a good way or a bad way, and I don't see it any type of way. Like, people either use it to say like he fell off, like it was a fluke, or people use it to say like he was so good before, whatever excuse you want to use. And I don't see it either way. I just use like their entire season stats. Like, okay, like he was a rookie who had a 24% target share and 1.75 yards per run. That's very good. Like, that's a guy who I'd expect to have potential to break into like the top 15 wide receivers. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely upside. I definitely think that like he is going to be the wide receiver 1 in terms of like what the role looks like. Probably like a 25, 20, 26, 27% target share. And this offense should pass a good bit. I mean, Baker Mayfield's always done that. So there's some very legitimate upside. I don't really see. I mean, I didn't like him that much as a prospect because he was a senior who kind of got outproduced by some of the guys around him. But there are some very good guys around him in college.
Yeah, like on any other team, if he was a senior getting outproduced by the guys around him, I would have been a lot more worried. But I mean, he was getting outproduced by first round picks.
I feel like at every stage, I've just been like, perfectly fine prospect, perfectly good rookie ADP, perfectly good sophomore year ADP, just to say like, yeah, I'll take him. Like, if he's there, he's a good value. Like, if he falls
a little bit, happy to take him. But yeah, I think that where he ends up in drafts, I'm a little bit more inclined to take a Colston Loveland as well, just because I think that an elite tight end in Guillotine helps a ton.
Yep.
100%. And also because, at least as rankings stand right now, I think there's a lot of wide receivers late that I really like, namely Josh Downs. We love Josh Downs.
Loveland, oh my God, Loveland's so good. And this is always, I'm like, overconfidence always has pitfalls. But I really don't see any way that he doesn't end up as like an elite tight end for years and years to come. Like he's gonna be in crazy conversations, and
he's been so good.
He's so good. I'm a Michigan fan, so he's so good at Michigan. I was so I like in the last few weeks of the season, I was like, yeah, this is like what I expected from him, and seeing him do this, like, just a couple of stretch games in the NFL, I'm like, he's here. He's going to be good in the NFL. I know.
Yeah, he's probably the answer to Luther Burden versus Rome Odunze. Like the right answer is Colston Loveland.
I agree. 100%. The only there's no wrong answer except for Rome Odunze. Burden and Loveland are both correct answers to me.
I actually was a TA for Luther Burden in college when I was mastering economics. Yeah, as you've recently mastered engineering, as I recall.
It's pretty cool. Damn.
Yeah. Anyways, wide receiver 35, Chris Godwin. This is a player that I like clicking the button next to his name on, especially if you've already gotten Egbuka on your team. Then it's a really good floor raising pick. Because there's going to be, if you draft Egbuka on his own, Chris Godwin could have an insane week. He's definitely got that in the cards. And if that happens, then Egbuka's going to be a little bit worse for wear. And the same thing vice versa. We obviously know that Emeka is capable of putting up insane points. And that would leave Godwin out in the dust. But if you've got them both on the same team, if they both have an average game, then you're probably not getting eliminated. If one of them has a great game, you're probably not getting eliminated. If they both have a bad game, it would be rough. But they're way less likely to both have a bad game than two players on different teams whose game and performance aren't correlated together at all, having a bad game at the same time. So I like Godwin. Even on his own, I like Godwin. He's definitely more of a full PPR pick than a half. Definitely not a good non-PPR pick. But like a lot of guys on the Buccaneers, I'm willing to look past what happened in 2025 and look closer to what happened in 2024. He was great in 2024. Getting him at wide receiver 35, this is another guy that enables not taking a wide receiver early, focusing more on running backs, and then getting a fine but not flashy PPR option. The only concern is he's 30. Do you think that him being 30 years old is too big of a concern for you, or are we still okay with Godwin here?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, he's another guy that I feel almost no type of way on. Like, it's gonna be pretty boring. Like, I don't like. There's always gonna be some theoretical upside because he's another year removed from like that tie rope surgery, and we've seen players have a down year and then go back to their form after that. So I could see it, but seeing it at 30 is a little bit of a dicey proposition. If he was a little bit younger, I'd say like, yeah, he was like wide receiver 2 before he got injured in 2024. Like I put him as a top 15 receiver, 20 receiver or something. But with the age and with the emergence of Egbuka, like I definitely think it's going to be more of like a steady-ish. I mean, you know how I feel about consistency, but over the season, I think you'll know what you'd expect from him, and that's like 12, 13 PPR points, which probably is like what half PPR. Good enough.
Yeah,
it's something that I wouldn't feel bad about having him on my team for sure, but I'm always chasing upside. I mean, I never really settle for safe picks. I mean, and you saw that with me last year. It worked out last year. And you can't like obviously just because it worked for me. I'm not saying that like it's gonna work again, but I think overall, like if you draft like 3 risky but upside guys, you like if one of them hit and then 2 of them are okay, then that's good enough.
Totally. So I think that 35 is the right spot for him, though.
I agree.
I think it's a pretty reasonable spot for him. Do we care about? Yeah. No, okay. We don't care about Kate Otten. There we go. Are there any other Bucks worth discussing? Kenneth Gainwell was already brought up. You say you don't care about Kenneth Gainwell going at RB 33.
It's ridiculous to me. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's insane.
Disgusting to me.
I think that this is best ball bros influencing things a lot, and that's a trend that I think we've seen throughout the industry in the last couple of years, is the really heavy upside chasing, infecting drafts at times. And I think Kenneth Gainwell sort of epitomizes it, because they were. So? I think it does, because the best ball bros were burned by Bucky last year, and now there's sort of the negative reaction. Kenneth Gainwell coming in, he did usurp Jalen Warren last season, but I mean, Baker Mayfield didn't throw to the running backs a ton last season, even in a year where his where his offensive line was falling apart. He wasn't checking it down a ton. I don't really think there's a reason for him to check down more this season.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand the argument that Kenneth Gainwell, I don't agree with it, but I understand the argument that Kenneth Gainwell might be a better pass-catching running back than Rachaad White.
He's definitely up there. He's definitely in conversation.
He's up there.
Rachaad White is also very amazing himself. So I can't get fully behind like totally carving out a new role. He'll definitely take like some similar things, and he can always push for, like, he pushed for receiving role in Pittsburgh just because of how good he was at it, and there was like a legitimate connection between him and Rodgers. Upside, I don't really see the upside. Like, I understand best ball because like you can never predict when the week happens where he has like 8 catches because he was out there in a 2-minute drill, and then like he got some, and then maybe he fell in the end zone. Like, you can't predict that. But then I really don't see any upside. Like, there's no like, this guy's flex usable and he has upside if Bucky gets hurt. I don't see that. He's never been a good rusher. He's never been a guy. If Bucky was to get hurt, everyone would be rushing to get Sean Tucker because Sean Tucker is going to get more carries, and he has.
I would hope so.
So, Kenneth Gainwell, I'm not very in on.
This is one of the only players who like I will push strongly back against consensus on. I tend to not believe that I'm smarter than consensus. I tend to believe that on average that's just gonna work out the way, or I'm not gonna be better than it on average. Kenneth Gainwell at RB33, that's something I'm gonna push back on pretty heavily. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that the return of Bucky Irving and also the existence of Chris Godwin being somewhat back, like as a good short area target for Mayfield, probably makes Gainwell not happen. And then Sean Tucker, who you mentioned, I think that's a good reason to also not draft Gainwell, because his upside, if Bucky Irving got hurt, is really capped. Sean Tucker had one of the greatest game logs I've ever seen a running back have in fantasy football. He did not go above 10 points twice last season. He only went above it once, and it was to drop 34 points on the Buffalo Bills.
Beautiful.
For no reason. It was so great. Like, I'm from Kansas City, so obviously a Chiefs fan. And so obviously I'm not a big Bills fan. That was fun to watch. Sean Tucker you're good in my book for the rest of your career for that one. That was great. And then wide receiver 63, Jalen McMillan. Is there anything to be had here? He's probably going to get drafted.
Yeah, I'm not in on Jalen McMillan. He was not a good prospect, and then he got a lot of hype after his rookie season just off touchdowns. And people don't really understand. Like, I feel like people learn, but then for all the people that learn that you can't predict touchdowns, or that's not the reason to like someone, there's always someone new who comes in and doesn't understand that.
Exactly.
So he's still getting hype. And, then he got hurt and he never got a chance to show anything or prove anyone right or wrong. But I feel like that injury in and of itself kind of probably hurt some of his development, and they drafted another receiver, and it's probably still going to be like a strain for getting on the field and needing injury in order to show anything.
Right. He's an injury away from being like a low-end wide receiver 3. And I'm just not going to spend a draft pick on that. I'm sorry. I've got better things to spend draft picks on.
Yeah, especially in Guillotine. He's going to get cut for the first running back who gets opportunity.
100%. He's going to be one of the first players cut from a team.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys who are going to get cut, let's talk about Tyler Shuck at QB 20.
I agree. The Saints should cut him. It's terrible.
Is that?
I don't like Tyler Shuck at all. I was talking to Luke Sawhook the other day. Like I was hanging out with them. I don't know if you know that we both live in Cincinnati now, so I hang out with him. Yeah, I know. He's like my guy. Yeah.
Right on.
We just hang out and talk about football, and we were talking about Tyler Shuck, and I was like, nope, I don't understand it. Like it was a lot of pass attempts in that late stretch. He had like rushing touchdowns, and it was good. You know, like it was good to see like rushing ability and like.
Sure.
I still don't think he's a good player though. Like he was a terrible prospect. I understand like the injuries are the reason why he's so old, but like it's one thing to have injuries as your excuse, but also like you can't only have your only sample of being good, like being 23-year-olds, being 23 years old and playing and beating up on people who are like 19 and 20. Like that's not enough to convince me that you're good. And then with that, like Cam Ward did that. He was a little younger, but he got drafted first overall. Tyler Shuck didn't go to the second round. So a lot working against him as a prospect. And we only really saw like 4 or 5 good games from him to not really disprove anything. My null hypothesis has not been rejected. It's not been proven that he's bad. We can't accept the null hypothesis yet, but my null hypothesis has not been rejected yet.
It definitely has not been rejected. I think that a lot of the pointing to raw fantasy points for his breakout stretch is very similar to pointing to the Bo Nix raw fantasy points, where like if you watch this guy playing football, you don't think that this is one of the best quarterbacks. This isn't some guy who's about to break out. His weapons have improved. I will absolutely grant that the weapons have gotten way better. And he could also have a lot of volume this season, again, just because Kellen Moore has always been a high volume offensive coordinator as his head coach. The guy's not going anywhere. And he's still going to call a good offense.
Yeah.
But when he dropped back to pass, and when he dropped back, he was not good. I've got it on my notes here, 25th in fantasy points per drop back. That's the opposite of what you want to see for a breakout quarterback prospect. Breakout quarterbacks are guys who were really efficient on a per drop back basis. And now they're going to get more passing opportunities, and so they're going to break out. They're going to be good. That's not what we're looking at with Tyler Shuck.
Yeah,
100%. He's also got the same, like, how many times have we seen a rookie quarterback play really good for like 8 weeks, and then defensive coordinators get tape on him and
definitely
shut him down?
100%. I mean,
played 8 weeks.
Last year, like it was like week like 14, 15, 16, the dregs of the NFL season. He's beating up again. He's beating up the. I was just checking. He was beating up the Jets, the Titans, the Panthers, the Falcons. I'm like, okay, like.
And he was still trailing in these games.
Yeah,
like he was frequently trailing against these bad teams. Like you don't trail against bad teams unless you're doing bad stuff to begin with. The fact that you have to make comebacks on these teams doesn't give me confidence. So when Tyler Shuck gets drafted, it just feels like a guy who's not going to start in a Guillotine league unless it's like there's bye weeks happening and he happens to have a good matchup. And he might be a start of a week here and there, but I don't want to spend a draft pick on that. I want to pick someone who might flash something week 1. I don't think he's flashing anything week 1.
Yeah.
And that makes me pretty nervous about the rest of the offense, including Travis Etienne. I know that he's the running back. He's not necessarily catching a ton of stuff. But as good as he was last season, I'm not quite as excited about him. And I think principally this is because of Alvin Kamara. He's still there, and he was still a good pass catcher last season. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I don't think we're taking that into account enough, not only with Travis Etienne, but also with Alvin Kamara. His ADP and his ranking is so pretty low, I think.
Yeah.
Where are you at on Etienne?
Kamara, the receiving ability will definitely stay for longer than the rushing ability, which is already gone. It definitely hurts him in that aspect. He's just Etienne's just smacking the RB dead zone, and I'm not very interested in him. There's some guys around him, like Kyron or Brees, that definitely project for more of a workhorse role.
Yeah.
And better offenses for Kyren at least. And so I'm not very in on ETN. It's, I don't hate him the most. I'm definitely low on him, but it's really just about like, not gonna have that much receiving work and probably have less touchdowns, not on the Jaguars like breakout offense and on this offense now. And so I'll be out on him.
Your biggest hope for Achane, excuse me, not ETN.
Achane. Yeah.
My bad. Is you've got to hope that they just run a ton of plays and they go down near the goal line. But I mean, even the formula for them scoring last season, which was them going down early and passing to get back in it, that still doesn't produce a lot of rushing touchdowns. It's
no.
Etienne's just Achane, excuse me. That's going to be so hard. It's going to be hard all year.
Yeah, the best hope for him is pretty much that, like, I don't know. I guess my biggest upside case for him would be like they're down in games and they have him out there because like they want to be able to run, like, if it's not like so late that they're running like hurry up, then
they still want to make
situations, but they still have him out there because having Kamara would just like tip the pass or something like that. They still want to mix in some rush plays, something like that. I don't know.
It feels like we're really threading the needle at that point. I would rather just take Bucky. I'd rather take Cam Scadaboo. I'd rather take DeAndre Swift for that matter.
Etienne is not a terrible receiver. He's got something there, but it's not enough.
But like if they're keeping Kamara on the roster, they're keeping him on the roster to catch passes out of the backfield.
I agree.
So he's more of a hope he does better next year. 2027, good draft pick in 2027.
Yeah.
But let's move on to one of the guys that really just turned your season into the rocket ship, going straight up, going at wide receiver 11 right now. Chris Olave, who the fantasy community has been pounding the table for forever. He had always been a high yards per route run, high first downs per route run guy. And everyone was always on he just needs to get decent quarterback play. And it finally happened. He finally had the breakout. Is he here to stay?
I definitely think so. I mean, you say you're not projecting injuries, but it looks like you are. It looks like you're projecting. I don't know. Some coded language there, but I didn't want to get hurt. Maybe. And obviously the head injury is always going to be something that lingers. And I do think that like I like Olave. Like I've always liked Olave. That's the reason I took him last year. But I really don't think anything's changed from last season. The price is just way higher, and that's not making me out on him. It's just not. I'm just not going to draft him as heavily as I did last year. The price is just a little bit more prohibitive to it, but he still had amazing peripherals. He had amazing like production, obviously, and so like I feel perfectly good about taking him. Like at the end of like round in round like 3, at the end of 3, middle of 3. I'm perfectly fine with that. Like there's obviously that's in redraft, and Guillotine pick 36 would be the end of round 2. If that's my second round pick, like I'm fine with that. Especially if I have a running back.
I think I am too. Yeah. If I took a running back early and I want Chris Olave to anchor the wide receiver room, I feel pretty good about it.
Did anyone start wide receiver in this one?
I don't know actually. I can look into that.
Gridiron Geek? Is that Gridiron Geek? Who is that?
Yeah.
He did, and then his RBs are Gainwell and Tracy. He started 3 wide receiver actually, and then Kraft, and then Caleb Williams. That is hilarious. It's a little dicey. That's definitely dicey. He has zero IRL starting running backs in that week 1 lineup.
I mean, he also might only have 1 starting wide receiver in the week 1 lineup because he got Puka Nacua, George Pickens, and Malik Neighbors.
I think Neighbors is good. I think Puka's good too.
I think Neighbors starts good.
Fine.
But I don't think it happens, but did you see the report that the NFL might discipline Puka for biting that chick?
I did not see it. I knew that there's been something, and that's always been lingering, but it feels like nothing. Feels like I think if he's gonna get disciplined, it might happen like to the beginning of next season. because I don't know, he doesn't have a trial yet, so it's hard to, with a case like that, it's hard to give suspension before it's resolved.
Definitely, but also like I don't think anyone knows what happens in the NFL personal conduct policy rooms where they determine how that happens. So
yeah,
there's always a chance. I don't think it happens. I think he's got 3 starting wide receivers week 1, but there's a world where he's got who would he be starting alongside? It could be George Pickens, Antonio Williams at the starting wide receiver spot week 1.
Hilarious.
And that would be a pretty fun post week 1 exit interview.
Yeah. But like if he didn't do that, if he just drafted 2 wide receivers and he didn't get neighbors, he could have easily walked out with his running backs being like Scadaboo and Monty or Stevenson or something like that. That would have been that would have been great for me. Like I would have been happy with that with 2 wide receivers starting out.
Yeah, there's no problem with something like that.
I actually did start with like no running backs to start because I drafted London and McBride. So I also did the 0 RB, but then I took Tootin and then I got JCM later. Tootin,
right?
Yeah, you know.
But you also waited at quarterback, which I think is necessary in that.
Yeah, definitely
in that sort of build.
Should I take my quarterback now? Or are we ready? I mean, we can talk about Jordan Tyson, but I think I know who I'm going to take at quarterback.
Yeah, let me pull over here.
You don't mind,
right?
I got the draft board pulled up. Might as well.
Yeah, go for it. What you got for me at quarterback here? We're looking at Baker, Shuck, Murray. Yeah,
I think it's got to be between Shuck and Murray, and like all the points on Shuck that I have still stand. I mean, I guess I got to take Murray. Like I would take him even if he wasn't named as QB1. Like that has been officially done.
Yeah,
and I think everyone was kind of assuming that, and it came true. So I don't really think anything's changed in my opinion, but definitely, I guess it's like like 1% more confidence in him. I got to take it. I wish I could take another running back here just to have like some more depth.
Look, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you from taking the.
It's tough because I would love it because
the Marshawn Lloyd.
It would be nice to push the envelope because there's a chance that like you get the same quarterback you would have, but all it takes is like 2 people to take a QB for everyone to start panicking, and then there's no one left.
I mean, you could be looking at Jacoby Brissett week 1.
Terrible, but that would get the job done. That would get the job done. Let's see what happened last year, because last year was definitely more aggressive, and I had to do that. I had to. I didn't take a QB too late. Actually, I took Kyler pretty early. I took him right before Drake May. That's hilarious.
Brutal.
Yeah, but QB was very spread out last year. Ben's panic on QB happened in round 14. I don't know how it happened, but
here I'm gonna get that draft board back up here for us.
Yeah,
just so we can understand the scale. You want to take a running back here, and then let it go 32 picks.
Yes,
before the opportunity for a quarterback.
What pick is this? Is this 10th round?
This is the 10th round. So you're looking at pick 182.
Okay. A lot of quarterbacks got picked in the 11th last year. It might get a little bad.
It might. Look,
if I was doing
if you
this,
try something, I'm not going to stop you.
The quarterback I would take, like if this was like my exact situation last year, the best quarterback who was available at the 11-17 was Geno Smith. Sam Darnold was there too, but
I mean, Sam Darnold though, he wasn't even like.
People didn't expect it, right? It's like you can't predict that breakout, right?
He also just wasn't really good for fantasy last season either.
Yeah, that's true. It was very, it was a lot better on the Minnesota offense with all the passing volume.
Look, if you don't take a quarterback here, I cannot promise that I won't take a quarterback with one of my next picks.
Don't you already have one?
I do.
You have Josh Allen. What do you need another quarterback for?
Because, I mean, who else is on this board?
Well, Josh Allen's bye is week 7. And so 6 teams will be cut by then. And so you'll only have 12 teams left.
True, but there will be other teams on bye in week 6.
Huh?
But there will be other teams on bye.
That's true. In week 7, yeah. But there's still 24 QBs that are on people's teams. If everyone has 2 QBs, that leaves 8 starters for you. That's not bad. You can definitely spare something there. I mean, I was starting Daniel Jones and Bryce Young a lot last year, like streaming them, and it worked perfectly
That's
fine.
true. That was the Daniel Jones starts were kind of crazy.
It
The
worked.
Bryce
Yeah, it
Young
was
starts
great.
were
I loved
crazier.
it. Maybe I'll do that again this year if it comes to it. I don't know. The QB ADP is scaring me because, if it's they're up there. So like I don't think these people are gonna like conform to the board, but the QBs are definitely gonna be in their mind thinking like, oh, I'll grab my guy. I'll just take Kyler. I mean, if I'm getting like another running back here, they're really a dime a dozen. I like Marshawn Lloyd, but I don't really know if there's a difference between him and like so many other guys here.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it.
Yeah,
we could do it.
There we go. I think that was the responsible.
Second year in a row I've picked Kyler. Let's hope it goes better this year for him.
Fingers crossed for you. I think that was the right decision. That was the responsible choice. You don't need to get cute with it picking your bench.
Yep.
But
back to the players. Okay. You don't
get back into it.
You don't like rookies, but you have to like Jordan Tyson, right?
I mean, if I don't like rookies, I definitely don't like injured rookies. I mean, he did
get injured. That was like today, though.
Yeah, he left practice today, some kind of hamstring. I have no idea. He could be totally fine.
I think he should.
He is the number 1 ranked Jordan in fantasy football this season, though. I don't know if you knew this or not. Beat out Jordan Mason, Jordan Love, and Jordan Addison.
Okay,
which is impressive for the young guy.
That matters. My points per Jordan league very important, but
I'll keep that in mind.
I don't know what his injury is. I'm always kind of blasé about the injuries. Like, oh, he'll be fine, whatever. Someone tear their ACL. It's like, whatever. I have him in Dynasty. I'll just get him next year.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But Tyson, I mean, as far as rookies go, injury aside, like he's gonna be starting week 1. He's gonna be having like a full route share. He is a player I think is good, and there is no competition on his team for targets aside from Olave. Like there's 70% of the pie available. He can determine what percent of that 70% he gets. He can get 25 as a rookie. I think he's that good of a prospect.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by it. I think that wide receiver 37 for me is a little high just because there's guys I'm really excited about that I'm pushing over him. But other than that, I don't think it's a terrible ranking.
Yeah. Josh Downs, sure. Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't see it at all with Wan'Dale Robinson.
It's fully a PPR scam.
Just terrible. I mean, it's one thing to PPR scam last year on the Giants with nobody. It's another thing to PPR scam when you're against someone like Carnell Tate in your wide receiver room. It's a different animal.
Carnell Tate can be good and he can still do the PPR scam. Like he still has Brian Dable calling the plays for him. Cam Ward still needs a safety blanket, and that's what Wan'Dale's going to represent, I think.
That's true. It's just Guillotine is definitely different because of the safety of it. Like I like rookies because of their upside late in the season, but late in the season, like you're going to be starting guys for like legitimate like top 10 wide receivers because there's only a few guys left. That is true. I never really consider that. But Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't like the safe picks. Like I don't really see any ceiling for him. Like he hit his absolute ceiling last year. And I think
it's less about it being a safe pick and more about it being a first 6 weeks of the season pick. Like to me, that's what you're drafting for once you get past the first 4 or 5 rounds of a guillotine draft, because those first 4 guys that are on your team, they're staying on your team. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But everyone else, you are actively trying to cycle them out of your lineup. You are actively trying to get someone better.
Yeah.
And so if I've got Jordan Tyson in my lineup, I don't think he starts as hot as Wan'Dale Robinson. And I think that by the time I'm 100% confident that Jordan Tyson is better than Wan'Dale Robinson, I've replaced him in my lineup with someone like if Chris Godwin runs hot, or if Remo Dunze ends up being good, or if Luther Burden has bad example. If Luther Burden has a down week because it's Colston Loveland week and then he makes his way onto the waiver wire, then I'm replacing Jordan Tyson with that guy. And then I've been less safe throughout the start of the season because I've been waiting for a rookie to get ramped up.
I don't even know if he's going to have a ramp-up period. I think he can legitimately come out of the gate with a 25% target share.
He's the rookie wide receiver that I am most interested in drafting.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I'd take him above Carnell Tate in Guillotine.
I agree. Easily. I think he's a better prospect, and their offense should pass more and be a little
Not
better.
Crazy. Not crazy at all.
Tyson would have been drafted first if it wasn't for injuries, I think.
That's fair. And he's also a guy that you have to worry about the injury going into the season on. I'm generally pretty injury agnostic for Guillotine because you can cycle through guys so much easier than you can in any other league. But
yeah, definitely.
If he's got red letters next to his name, I don't want to draft him as much just because I don't want to have to roll Jalen Naylor out there week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a little Juwan Johnson talk.
You ever watch Severance?
Yeah, I almost put a picture of Mr. Milchick on this slide, but then I felt like I might have been reaching a little too far because
it's a Venn
diagram of people who know what Mr. Milchick looks like and know what the reference is, and people who know who Juwan Johnson is and what he looks like, it's pretty thin.
Yeah,
that's a pretty thin overlap. But I should have done it. I should have done it just because it would have gotten a reaction out of you. Would have been cool. But tight end 16, Juwan Johnson is pretty reasonable for a late tight end, I think. It's going to be a fast running offense. He was very efficient last season. Part of that was because there was no Jordan Tyson target competition.
Yeah.
But still, like, this is tight end 16 we're talking about. Every tight end in this range is bad. It's just bad. And you're going to replace him immediately.
I love Juwan Johnson. I think like it definitely is a little different with the competition, but his ADP is so low. I think like people just don't realize how good he was last year. Like he wasn't like an all-star or like amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but he was very good for a tight end. And you know, like in terms of like a whole long range of people that are the same, he is at the very end of it. And I think and projects better than guys in front of him. Like people right in front of him, he projects better than, and the people like way up at the top of that range, he could be just as good as like something like that.
Right. I've got him very similarly to like the Travis Kelce, George Kittle range. I think that he's going to be right in there with them with like a Dallas Goedert type, but he's going a lot later than those guys. And so if I don't take one of the top 3 tight ends, then Juwan Johnson and Dallas Goedert as well. Those are the 2 guys who I'm looking at filling the bottom of the roster with. Because in an 18-team league, I say this all the time, in an 18-team league, you're going to have one position that's just bad. You can't draft 8 good players in this format.
Unless you're me last year.
We might be able to look back at that, but I would much rather my bad player be a tight end because tight ends are bad. 100%. I don't want my bad player to be a quarterback because quarterbacks, you need to score like 20 points. I don't really want him to be one of my wide receivers or running backs because then my depth is bad. Tight ends are everywhere, and the ones getting drafted that late are all the same. Let's talk about some bums on the Saints real quick. Do Oscar Delp or Devon Vele matter?
No, I love Delp in Dynasty, but nah, not this.
He is fun in Dynasty. What about Alvin Kamara? Running back 48, that just feels really, really low to get Alvin Kamara happening for you.
It does seem low off of just his name, and he's still going to have receiving. But I think it's just about over in terms of rushing. Like he was never a high volume guy. They kind of made him one in the last couple of years. Like, but you're really just hoping that HN goes down, and then even still, you're probably going to split carries with I guess Devin Neal, because I couldn't see them giving Kamara 20 carries at this stage.
No, and I don't really care as much about the carries as I do about like if you don't have an RB2 and you're sitting there and you're looking at Alvin Kamara versus like a Brian Robinson who we talked about earlier.
Yeah, 100% that.
Strongly prefer Alvin Kamara there. I think he's a good pick. I think that he's most likely going to make people who have Travis Etienne, I think he's just going to frustrate them a lot. And you can either choose to be frustrated by that and draft Etienne, or you can choose to laugh at that and draft Kamara. And it'll be fun. All right, let's talk about the worst team in the division that also was the division winner last year, because that's how the NFC South works.
Crazy.
Carolina Panthers.
No Cap Lillard, no picture. I agree, 100%. Yeah. He's like a make-a-wish kid in the NFL. I don't get it.
Marginally, yeah. I don't think there's a ton that needs to be talked about. The only question I have is, should he be the top Bryce drafted this year? It's between him and Bryce Lance. And he's a little bit of a developmental rookie, but at the end of the day, I could see Bryce Lance doing things. He could get some snaps as sort of a MVS type of guy. Like you're running those routes for the love of the game, but he'll be on the field, I think. He's fast. He's good deep.
He's fast. I don't think he's very good, but he is fast. But Bryce Young, I mean, is just terrible. Like he has 3 games over 250 yards in his career. It's horrible.
He had 3 games last season above 203 passing yards. That is not a hard bar to clear.
It's bad. I'll pick him up if he's playing against the Falcons somehow.
True.
That's the worst part, is he's really bad, and I would talk shit about him, and then Panthers fan would just like, he did well against your team. It's like, I'm not talking about him because I'm a Falcons fan. I'm talking about him because he's a bad player. Like,
right. I'm talking about him because
he's just that bad.
I'm an NFL fan, and he's bad at NFL football.
Yeah,
I don't 100%. Hate Bo Nix because I'm a Chiefs fan. I hate Bo Nix because I've watched Bo Nix play football, and it sucks to watch. Yep. Anyways, yeah, we don't have to talk about Bryce at all.
We should have done an emergency substitution for Jonathan Brooks.
You know, I had that thought, and I almost did. But A, I had to work today. B, I don't know if Chuba Hubbard is missing that much time.
I don't think
there's a report that he's week to week. He could make a lot of people really mad, and it would be really funny. It would just be really funny if he got like 70% of the workload week 1.
It would be. He probably does start off, but in terms of long term, at least like not even that long term, I think it's only going to take a few weeks for Jonathan Brooks to fight for something. I mean, it's definitely predicated on how good he is, because ACL tears, like they can always take something from you. But the amount of time that he missed gives me enough hope that he's going to be recovered from it. Like if he missed the entire season last year, that should be plenty of time for him to recover. And I think I'm very confident saying that he's going to be back to himself. And Chuba Hubbard, you got it right here that he's nothing special. And so I don't think it'll take much time for Jonathan Brooks to really put himself out there. And if he does, play well with that, he's gonna get work pretty quickly, because we saw Rico Dowdle take work from Chuba Hubbard. Shouldn't be any problem. Yeah. Jonathan Brooks should be better than both of them.
100%. I hate the RB30 price tag. I'm not paying that. Fortunately, I don't think you have to. I think that in the coming week or so, he's going to drop to like RB40, maybe RB45. And then when he's going around like the Jordan Mason, Alvin Kamara type of guys, then I'm more inclined to take him, because I think he's going to have an early season workload. It won't be anything glamorous, but I think he's probably going to be a 10 to 12-ish point guy who might score the touchdown and upset all of the fantasy people who love Jonathan Brooks. But that's also not really what his game was last season. He had 3 games, I noted, 3 games above 17 PPR points, which is solid for what you're getting at RB30. Yeah. Every other game that he played football, he was below 10 points.
He's just terrible. Just terrible overall.
I know that your research writ large says that it's really hard to predict consistency. There are some inconsistent players in the NFL.
Yeah, and some of it, his inconsistency comes from playing badly and getting benched. Like that definitely will cause your numbers to look inconsistent, because he started off the season, had a couple volume weeks, and then he just played. He missed some time, and then he didn't come back well. And Rico Dowdle did play well, and then Chuba was just terrible. And so I definitely agree that it's definitely like not a question of the inconsistency. It's more a question of like he got benched. Like this guy was getting benched last year for Rico Dowdle. It shouldn't be
the workload was inconsistent. Yeah, he was consistently the same player, just every once in a while did something dumb. Yeah. So yet another addition to my collection of Gabe Davises on this show. Everyone I don't like is Gabe Davis.
Yep.
Speaking of guys I don't like, wide receiver 17, Teteroa McMillan. Like, as a player, I do love Teteroa McMillan. I thought he was excellent last season, especially given the offensive environment around him. He performed very well. He was just about always in the 10 to 20 point range. He had 10 performances below that. He had 1 performance above that. And the problem is, like we said earlier, his quarterback is still Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And that's not changing anytime soon, unless we get Kenny Pickett out there, which would be worse. It would just be much worse. So this is not someone I'm super excited about. I think that people liked him last year because you got a good value on him, and he stayed in your lineup at all times. Didn't really matter what team he was playing. He was kind of giving you the same thing week in and week out. But I think drafting him as a mid to high end wide receiver 2, I mean, in a Guillotine league, this is a wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 17, that's someone's top wide receiver on their team.
Yeah, and I'd be perfectly fine with that.
You would?
Yeah, I definitely would be fine with that. He's a great player. He had great metrics last year as a rookie. The rookie's improving in year 2 is mostly because their snap share goes up. And so there's not much, there's not going to be growth there, but I think there is growth. I think he definitely does have, like, he doesn't even need to have upside because last year he did finish in the same range, but I think he definitely does have some upside still. He didn't have many touchdowns last year, and Bryce Young was just terrible last year. And so I really think
I don't see Bryce getting better.
I don't see him getting much better, but I feel like he set up like a floor last year almost. I don't know. Like,
he was terrible. He was really bad. He was really bad. My concern with McMillan, though, is at wide receiver 17, I can't see him doing much better than that. Like, either Bryce Young has to increase his passing touchdown rate, which I don't know if I buy, or he has to get more than, 28% of their passing production. He needs to touch the 30s, which is
not
hard. Yeah.
That's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question, but it's hard to do, and it's still not a market improvement between 28 and 30%. It's nice, but I mean, if that's the upside of him going from wide receiver 17 to wide receiver 14, I think that there's a lot more potential that the offense is just broken. And he's really good on it, where he always is going to be, but they don't give him any easy button touches, and I don't like that. He's never in motion. He's never in the slot. It's always just go out wide and beat the number 1 corner.
ERX, it's tough. I definitely think that, like, all the problems around him are the only thing that's stopping me from having him as one of my favorite guys. It's like everything
for sure
for him is cool, but I don't think I'm low on him. I think I'm perfectly fine on him.
I think he's fine at 17. I think that you know just about what you're getting, but I think that there are players who I think have the opportunity to be a wide receiver 1 who are getting drafted around him. Like I would take Jalen Waddle.
Over I was just about to say that. I 100% agree. Yeah. Jalen Waddle was one of my favorite guys this year. I agree.
Me too. It pains me to say it as a Chiefs guy, but like I think he's going to be excellent.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about everyone's current favorite player, what Bucky Irving was last year. I think Jalen Coker has become this year. And I think that he's probably a really good value at wide receiver 51. There's just no one else in this passing game. I really don't care that they signed Darren Waller, of all people. Chris Brazzell is out. Xavier Legette. I've got nothing to say about Xavier Legette.
I know where you get that meme from. I see you.
Thanks. Former first rounder Xavier Legette. Adam Thielen, who was there for a time last year, not when Jalen Coker was active, but Adam Thielen was there, and now he's gone. And he was awesome in the playoffs. had a great game against the Los Angeles Rams, who are the 2026 Super Bowl champions already. So I think we've got something happening with Jalen Coker. He's below the Josh Downs tier of, lower end sleeper type wide receivers. And I could still see him holding down the flex spot early in the season because the targets have to go somewhere. Like, even is taken in 31, 32% of the targets. Where else is that other 68% going, if not Jalen Coker, for a good chunk of it?
I think Coker could definitely take about 18 to 20% for sure.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
If it was a better offense, that could push for like a wide receiver 30. He's probably going to be like a wide receiver 4, maybe 3 if he's like really putting it on. But
low end 3 if he has good touchdown luck. But I mean, you still need to draft wide receiver 4s in this type of format.
And I would rather get someone like Coker who has upside because there is some uncertainty with him. Like, there's some heuristic upside than like Romeo Dobbs, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think that also you hear a lot of people say that targets are earned, they're not given. Yeah. And Jalen Coker is the type of guy who can earn more targets than he's gotten. I have it in my notes here. He was 12th last season among wide receivers in fantasy points per target, but he was only 60th in fantasy points per route run. So he was doing a ton of cardio out there. And just whenever he was targeted, he was really good. He had a 118 passer rating when targeted, which is way better than what Bryce Young is normally throwing. And I think that means you've got to get the guy the ball more. He's just very clearly their second best pass catcher by a mile. And it's rare to get a guy like that at wide receiver 51. He probably needs to be going in the early 40s, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Jatavion Sanders. Yep, that's a name. Anyways, let's talk about some Panthers. We don't really have to talk about Xavier Legette or Darren Waller, but yeah, we can definitely talk about Brooks, who I have in my notes that I didn't like as much as a Guillotine asset. If Chuba Hubbard's coming into the year injured, I love Jonathan Brooks. I'm in multiple Guillotine slow drafts right now, and I just took Jonathan Brooks a couple of hours ago, well above ADP, just because I figure it's going to skyrocket. So I might as well. It's my only chance to get Jonathan Brooks on a team.
I took JCM right before him, and I knew that Jagger was going to take Brooks right after me. And so I made the decision knowing I wasn't going to get another one. And I kind of wanted another wide receiver anyway. So I don't know if I was going to take both.
Very reasonable. Kind of stings right now. But I like JCM this year. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think I would change my decision, but I still I love Brooks. I wish I had him on so many teams. And especially at like the low price that he had to start the year. His ADP's gone up so much. Yeah. But I don't even think it's that ridiculous. Like, when you really look at it, like, there's a lot of times that players go up so much that's unfounded, and the Brooks thing is definitely there's always going to be some aspect that's like pure hype train that this guy's like trendy to like, but there is legitimate backing for it in the running back competition, the draft capital, the return from injuries. Like, I feel like it started off low because of just injuries, and like, I don't really see that as much of a problem anymore.
I'm really hoping it's not a problem. He just hasn't shown the ability to shoulder the workload since he graduated college. He's only once had more than 30 carries in a season. Yeah. Now, when he did that, it was awesome. It was fantastic.
He was amazing that last season at Texas.
At Texas,
Bijan was there in front of him, so he has an excuse.
No, there's an excuse for all of this. It's not like he wasn't getting carries for him being bad. It was the guy ahead of him is like football Jesus, and then he had his knees explode twice.
Yeah. And if he was coming into the league right now, no ACL tear, second round pick with this running back room,
with Chuba Hubbard ahead of him.
Right. it would just be people would not be looking at it like the way that like some of the detractors are of saying
he'd be going right next to Jadarian Price.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
I think that he's a really good, like him and Jadarian Price, I think are very similar.
They're pretty much the same in terms of who was in front of them, and they got drafted highly despite that. Like, it's not like they're Roschon Johnson.
Roschon Johnson. The things I thought about Roschon Johnson.
I remember some guy had him above Gibbs in his dynasty rankings. I wonder where that guy is now. It was a very famous.
I wonder what that guy's doing right now.
It was a guy who didn't do fantasy. He's like a real life NFL YouTuber.
Yeah, it's Brett Coleman.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about Brett Coleman is Brett Coleman's Twitter, because like you can watch him on YouTube and it's really good, really in-depth breakdowns that he obviously works really hard on to make them good.
Yeah.
And then Twitter is just like whatever comes into his mind.
Ja'Tavion Sanders or Brock Bowers. Crazy.
I don't think the gap between Ja'Tavion Sanders and Brock Bowers is that big.
Crazy. I don't analyze film for that very reason. It's not what I do. Really, he should not be talking about dynasty. We can both hyper specialize in our respective things, give each other advice, and be the better for it.
100%. He knows way more than I do about watching film.
Everything else, everything that's important for being a fan. I'm good at playing a fake game.
Exactly. I'm good at playing a very specific type of the fake game. And that's what I'm here for. And that's what you're here for. If you're still watching, still listening, thanks so much for tuning in, coming and hanging out, talking ball with us for an hour and a half. Akash, thank you so much, of course, for coming on to the show. Would love to have you back again sometime. You can find our guest at YZR_fantasy on Twitter. Is there anywhere else people can find stuff that you're putting out? I know you're a retired TikToker.
Yeah, I don't do any TikTok anymore. I was thinking about it because Luke
is popping off on TikTok,
and I see it. I'm like, damn, it looks fun. But I remember when I was doing TikTok, it was just so much of a hassle to edit the videos. I hated it so much. That's probably like the only reason that I stopped, because it's just so easy to like any thought that I have that's a tweet, I would just pick up my phone and record a TikTok.
And you can blast it out. Yeah.
But Twitter's perfectly fine for me, just because I'm able to just type something up sitting around. Like, I don't have to worry about the quality of the video or the audio or how I look. I just put the thought out there. It takes 5 seconds, and it's not monetizable. I wish it was monetizable like TikTok, but
I know. It's fine. It's really fine. Before I let you go, do you have any special leagues that you have kicking around in there? 100-point for quarterback tackle. I know you did Vampire.
Should do that again. I kind of put it off. I mean, now that the preseason is coming, it's really gonna it's really gonna like kickstart something within me where I'm like, damn, the season's coming. I should probably that one, the QB tackle one, the Vampire one. I'm gonna do a league where it's best ball without waivers. And if you finish 6th place and you win the league, that's going to be interesting.
Exactly 6th place.
Yep. Just total points.
Can I drop players?
No dropping players. You have to draft the perfect middling team.
You have to drop the most mid team imaginable.
Yeah. There's going to be, I think I'm excited for that one. There's going to be a lot of different strategies for that. It's going to be,
that's going to be,
I think
you can count me in for that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh my God. That'd be still amazing. But I got you, man. I'm excited for that one. I don't know what else. I love the gimmick leagues, though.
If I was going to do a Superflex Guillotine league just to see what happens.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, because I'm a quarterback value. I mean, Jesus Christ. Probably be all quarterbacks in the first. 1, 2, 3. I would probably take quarterbacks for the first. I think I would pick like in the first 36 picks, the first 2 rounds. I would expect maybe 10 flex players to go.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but
yeah, that's fair.
Jesus. That sounds hilarious. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we'll get more of that happening later on.
I'll have my people call your people.
Yeah, we'll have him get in touch. It'll be good. All right. Akash, thank you again. Loved having you. Everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Don't Get Last Guillotine podcast once I find the end record button.